activities that students participate in every year on October 23rd. These activities are fun and engage student creativity, and that is the vision for National Periodic Table Day. The periodic table is known worldwide. It is the most recognized table in the world. So anything that we can do to help society better understand the periodic table is going to benefit all of us. I hope chemists worldwide embrace this day and help society better understand why elements can be arranged to promote chemical predictability. Now, this Sunday, many of you are going to be watching the Super Bowl, and you're going to say to yourself, they do a really good job of promoting athletics as being very important. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance. You got the halftime shows, everybody's dancing around. I want to be a part of that. But let's go back in time a little bit to December 11th, 1941. Does anybody have any idea what happened then? December 11th, 1941. Yes, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And you have to remember, when this happened, we were taken by surprise. The Japanese now, they became our enemy. And we did not defeat them in athletics. We defeated them academically. Academics will always be more important than athletics. If we fast forward to today, most of the most advanced technologies are manufactured in Japan. Now, if you look on most of the things you buy, you're going to see made in China. China does a lot of the assembling, but most of the technical things are done in Japan because Japan is now a friend. Now, they're not a friend because of baseball or football or soccer. They're a friend because of academics. In 1899, Bayer began distributing aspirin to doctors to give to their patients. Thanks to the periodic table, we now have a better understanding of chemical bonding. Thus, our healthcare system will continue to improve. Scientists used to think that long life, or lifespan, was a good indicator of health span, described as the years of good health and function. Today, they have branched out into two separate fields. Body Shapes Medical, which is a local company, is an example of doctors working to improve health span to aid in lab-made chemicals. In 1900, the percentage of people over 85 was 0.13%, or 1 in 1,000 made it to 85. In 2010, 13% of the population was over 65, and the percentage of people over 65 is expected to grow to 33% by 2027. What that means for you, this is very important that you understand this. In just 11 years, 1/3 of the population is going to be over 65. Anywhere you go, you're going to see older population, older people. 1/3. Also in 2010, 2% of the population was 85 and over, or 20 in 1,000. Thus, 800 out of 400 students in this school are expected to reach age 85. Now that is expected to continue to grow, but you have to remember back in 1900, only 1 in 1,000 were expected to make it to 85. Understanding how to extend health span, apart from its impact on longevity, is a growing focus of many studies, and for good reason. Emergency care costs are higher compared to preventative care costs. Imagine a society where a majority of people live to be 100, but along with the added years come considerably more physical decline. While there is still a place for lifespan research, health span holds promise for revealing ways to delay or prevent disease and disability so that we can live healthier longer. Understanding we are made of many elements in the periodic table helps the scientists better predict which chemical reactions in the body signal potential disease or disability. There will always be more than one way to make a product, so the challenge will be to determine the best way to treat the illness. There are a lot of different types of bacteria, just like there are a lot of different types of cancer. Improving human understanding of the periodic table and how to make new products more efficiently is a goal of Periodic Table Day. Now, why should we celebrate this day? If we were to travel back in time to February 7th, 1863, John Newlands would remind us this is a period of time when Charles Darwin, on November 24th, 1859, published On the Origin of Species. John Newlands had seen the cartoons depicting Charles Darwin as a monkey, and he knew that Darwin was being harassed. A hero is anyone who is willing to stand up for the truth, regardless of the circumstances. The physicist George Foster asked if Newlands might not obtain equally good results by arranging the elements alphabetically. Heroes remind us that life can be tough and even harsh. What can be learned from taking risks? Science demands risk-taking. Thus, another goal of Periodic Table Day can concerns preparing new scientists, that's you, to be ready for criticism and failure. Aristotle did not agree with Democritus. You have to really understand, Aristotle had a lot of power. He didn't agree with him at all. He agreed in earth, fire, air, and water. And that thinking went on for 1,800 years until John Dalton investigated Democritus. So the physicist George Foster asked if Newlands might not obtain equally good results by arranging the elements alphabetically. They didn't agree with John Newland's theory of thinking. What can be learned from taking risks? Science demands risk-taking, so remember that. John Dalton was the first to propose, in his book, in 1808, a new system of chemical philosophy that atoms had weight. Dalton's 1805 table of atomic masses was seriously deficient because it did not appreciate the atoms did not have to be in a 1-to-1 ratio. So, as a scientist, you're going to face criticism. And John Newlands faced criticism. And you're also going to face failure. And John Dalton shows us that failure. I'm going to show you that in a second. This right here is the periodic table day.org website that I've created. And right here is John Dalton's first set of atomic weights. Now on that table, you'll see that oxygen has a mass of 5.5. Now I just read to you why that is the case. So can anybody raise their hand and explain why that's the case? What did John Dalton assume? He assumed that water was in a 1-to-1 ratio, that is, hydrogen was in a 1-to-1 ratio with oxygen. So if we go on and we look down, every day I try to learn something new. And this is really what I want you to understand today. Failure was a big part of success as far as the periodic table is concerned today. Nobody just gave up. So if we look at John Newland's table, which is the first table that was published in 1863, February 7th. This is the first table that was published. And you'll notice on this table that oxygen is still incorrect. This is 58 years later. It took 58 years from John Dalton's list just to get it onto a table. And today we're so caught up in progress. We're just instant, give me everything now. Text, tell me all the answers. But it's not always like that in science. There's a lot of criticism, there's a lot of failure to try to get to the correct answer. So you'll see that oxygen is mass there is 7. That's not correct because John Dalton assumed the 1-to-1 ratio. Now it was eventually determined that it was a 2-to-1, and then that changed everything as far as the masses were concerned. Just want to point that out to you. So John Newlands based his periodic table on ideas from Pythagoreans. This is where he faced his criticism. They worshipped mathematical harmonies. He knew that ridicule would follow. The Pythagoreans expected their followers to obey specific rules, such as not eating beans and practice abstinence. Now, this is Friday or Saturday. Let's say you go to Applebee's, right? And you say, well, I'm going to convert all you people in here to Pythagoreanism. And you all have to practice as adults abstinence. You're not going to get a lot of happy faces from you. And this is going to create a lot of criticism. People are not going to be very welcoming of that idea. So he was, criticized for it. Publishing a book or obtaining a patent on a new idea are both high-risk investments. John Newlands was taking a risk with his family, with his integrity, when he was relating to the Pythagoreans and their idea for the periodic table. Just because an idea will work or is correct does not mean it will be an immediate success. People often will get caught up in their idea and then they will wonder why they end up broke. Because not all ideas will be successful immediately. Many challenges were overcome to produce the modern periodic table. This is what you have to remember, that through your life, you're going to face a lot of challenges. That's not easy. Challenges, they make you want to question yourself. But we are here today, and we are celebrating this because of Eastern High School students. We are now establishing a tradition of excellence from this day. The only reason why I'm up here is because teachers perform well. And that's just not me who says that. Many great people will tell you that. When I received the patent on an ethanol distillation system, several companies sought their services to promote my idea. However, I did some research and found that many companies were investing in shale, and fracking soon became the new method of oil production in the U.S. Thus, I did not pursue spending more money to promote my patent. Today, there are a number of companies in bankruptcy that produce oil from shale. Inventions and new ideas are high-risk investments, both financially and emotionally, due to pre-existing assumptions or opinions. This is what you really have to remember. When you go out with your new idea, there are a lot of ideas that are already working well, and that would be namely right now oil. For example, let's say that a doctor is treating cancer patients. The plans have worked well, so why pursue expensive improvements? Why should the hospital go pursue expensive improvements? In an ideal world, great ideas have no financial burden. That's the thing you have to remember, something called financial burdens. Who's going to pay the cost? And you really need to pay attention to that because of the growing number of people that are going to be going on Social Security. Often, success presents a feeling that few improvements are needed. You're like, well, these things are working well right now. Why should we improve? There's no need for improvement. However, Winston Churchill believed that success was the ability to go from one failure to the next with no loss of enthusiasm. It is important to note that many have described success as a gift, as if it was meant to be. Because success is often based on being at the right place at the right time. This is the reason Winston Churchill believed in hard work. Continuously work hard, continuously work hard, because eventually you will be at the right place at the right time. Just because an idea will work or is correct does not mean it will be immediate success and produce a profit. Today, Dr. Patrick Holt joins us as a guest speaker from Bellarmine University.